Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Menchu Makapagal. Today on the program, as Filipinos usher in the new year, we look at ways on how to get mentally ready. New year, new you. We also get tips on how to keep New Year's resolutions. Psychologist Richthofen de Jesus joins us on the program. And later we catch up with TikTok influencer and content creator Christian Antolin on making engaging social media content. Welcoming the new year often gives a feeling of a clean slate and an opportunity to start something new. But it's also a season when people feel happiness and stress at the same time. So how do you prepare your mental goals ahead of the new year? We ask our source today, a psychologist from the Asian Hospital, Dr. Richthofen de Jesus. Doc, good morning and welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Traditionally, how do we view the new year?
Okay, especially among Filipinos, we usually view the new year in three different ways. One, it's a new opportunity. Two, it's going to be a repeat of what happened last year. Or three, it's going to be worse. Okay, so there are different mentalities that can be in play here. For those people who can see that they are now looking at better opportunities, for example, other job opportunities perhaps, or maybe starting a family, they then look at the new year as a new beginning. On the other hand, for those who are still within the same cycle as what they had the previous year, they're just going to say it's going to be a repeat of what happened last year. It's just the same thing. Oo, ganun lang uli yan. But sometimes, for those people, especially if they received bad news at the end of the previous year, they are now seeing the new year as something that's going to be worse.
Okay, so, you know, with all the festivities, right, how stressful is the start of the new year when it comes to mental health?
Oh, it's very stressful because primarily when you are now encountering a new year, for example, you could either be just seen as looking at it as a challenge or looking at it as a threat. So depending on the mindset that you have, optimists, for example, will then look at it as a challenge, a new beginning, a new way of doing things, a new way of achieving for myself. But for those people who have been so devastated by the previous year, they might see the new year even as a threat. And because of that, they will now feel inadequate to really, try to respond to the challenges that they will be facing for that new year. So those two different paths will then dictate the kind of attitude that you will have as you face on the days to come.
But how do you set these mental health goals?
Okay. Actually, it's very simple. You just need to learn on how to be smart. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Usually among Filipinos, we have resolutions, but it's usually very vague. Magtanong ka sa tao sa kalsada, they will just say, gusto kong magpapayat. For example, there are a lot of Filipinos like that. But the question is, by how far? By how much? Being specific allows you to really commit to what you need to do and how you will be doing it.
Okay.
Right? So specific yan. Next, it has to be measurable. We are often just excited about things because it's new. Pansinin nyo, January, New Year's resolution ko yan. Pagdating ng February, tanungin mo, kamusta na yung New Year's resolution mo? Nasusunod pa ba?
Nakalimutan ko na.
Yeah, they often forget about that. And it's because it's not novel anymore. Keeping things measurable means that you're going to put checkpoints on yourself to ensure if you are still sustaining that particular goal that you had for the new year.
Okay.
Next, it has to be attainable. Let's say, for example, if you are a clerk right now, don't try to jump in becoming the president of the company within the next few months. It has to be something that's really realistic.
Okay.
Next, it has to be relevant. You need to align things that then support the goal that you have. It's more of like, you cannot say, magpapapayat ako and then you keep on eating French fries. Okay? So you need to align things that will then approach towards the goal that you have. And lastly, you need to have a deadline. Okay. Having no deadline will not push you to do the things that you need to do.
Parang wala kang accountability.
Yes. So you have to have a realistic deadline set for yourself. If you tell yourself, I'm going to lose weight in the next 3 months by cutting out rice, cutting out on certain foods, that's the way on how to do these things.
But what is the positive and for every positive, there's always a negative, right? So what are the positive and negative things about creating these resolutions for ourselves?
Well, number one, you will then feel, bad about yourself whenever you're not achieving these things. You will just say that, I'm really hopeless about this. I made a lot of goals and then katapus-tapusan, I have not done any of them. So you'll just feel bad. You'll just feel that you are hopeless with what you are with yourself. In addition to that, you will feel that, I'm alone in this. I'm not being helped by anyone on this. So that's why I don't think it's working out. So you will then feel disconnected as well. And lastly, you will feel that you are really inadequate as a person. You will start to attribute bad things happening because it's who you are. So when those things then add up, these will then become the symptoms that might primarily lead to certain conditions in the end.
Okay, but how do you kind of snap yourself out of that mindset, no? Give us tips naman on how to have the right mindset for 2024.
Number one, you just need to keep things simple.
Okay.
Sometimes we make a little bit of a grandiose goal, for example, but that's not going to be helpful. You have to keep yourself on the ground. Keep things that are just right in front of you, and then slowly do it one day at a time. Second, for every achievement that you do, celebrate your small successes. Most Filipinos, they go through their day or even the year itself that they forget that they are the ones creating an effort for their life.
Okay.
That's why we just succumb to the idea that everything is just too repetitive, everything is just too routinary. But what you don't realize there is that you are surviving because you are making an effort for yourself. So learn to then celebrate the small successes that you have with you. Third, don't be shy to ask questions. Filipinos, we usually like to save face. We often say, ayoko magtanong, nakakahiya kasi he might think badly of me. But it's not. The more that you ask questions, the more that you'll receive answers that you need. So by doing so, you are now opening yourself to opportunities that you may not have during the previous year, and something that might open better opportunities at the present time.
But what about those who may have, kind of like a hard time, especially in welcoming the new year in terms of mental health, especially those who are coming off of, bad news. A bad year. Paano yun?
Okay. So first and foremost, acceptance of the situation is very important. The more that you deny the situation, you'll not be able to do something about it. Second, start to seek alternatives in the way that you think. In becoming resilient, you need to understand that you need to be capable of being flexible, that there is no one solution to the problem that you're having. Learn to start looking at those alternatives and challenge yourself after that. Third, with whatever options that are open to you right now, work with it. Don't let an idea sit in your mind. It has to be something that you're actually doing. And then from there, evaluate the actions that you do. And lastly, always don't forget to take care of yourself. If you want things to happen in your life, you need to understand that it is you who's going to make it for yourself.
Well, some excellent advice there. Maraming salamat, Dr. Richthofen de Jesus, of course, for all of your tips. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Once again. And up ahead, we ask one TikTok influencer on how to make engaging content on social media. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned.